So you're an expert on running cadence, right? No? Well, we're here to explain exactly what running cadence is and why it's important for us runners.
And ways to improve it. Let's go. Okay, so let's start off with a definition. Running cadence, also known as steps per minute, SPM, is the total number of steps you take per minute of running, counting both feet. It can tell you a lot about your running form, but more on that in a second. GPS watches and heart rate monitors can track your cadence for you, so if you have one of these, you don't have to count the steps in your head.
Basically, the more steps that you take in a minute, the shorter your stride length and the higher your cadence will be, or the less steps that you take in a minute, the longer your stride length and the lower your cadence is going to be. But what should your cadence be? Do you track and measure yours? Let us know down in the comments below.
Well, for almost 3 decades, 180 SPM was considered the golden cadence for all runners, including you and me. This came about after the famous running coach Jack Daniels studied the strides of a group of male and female elite distance runners taking part in the 1984 Olympic Games, from the 800 metres up to the marathon distance. His research found that the faster pro runners had a cadence of up to 200 steps per minute, whereas slower beginner runners had a cadence of around 160. So naturally, it was considered that the sweet spot was 180 steps per minute for all runners, regardless of your ability or anatomy.
But cadence is not as simple as that, nor is it a one-size-fits-all thing. More recent research suggests that a runner's optimum steps per minute is heavily dependent on their individual makeup. Our bodies are very good at self-optimizing, so the cadence that you're currently running is probably the most efficient for your body and your paces. However, with that being said, if you do want to improve on those paces, then cadence is probably a great place to start. More on that in a bit.
Factors like your height, weight, age, ability, and even footwear can impact your running cadence. For example, shorter runners tend to have a higher cadence than taller runners, taking more steps per minute for the same distance. But even though Jack Daniels' study found that elite runners have a higher cadence, this doesn't necessarily mean that shorter runners are faster than taller runners, so your anatomy doesn't dictate your speed.
Also, the same person can have different cadences depending on the workout they're doing.
Yeah, so for example, in a speed session, you're going to be turning your legs over much faster than you are in a slower, easier run. So you're going to have a higher cadence. Next rep, bye.
Okay, so we know what running cadence is and that it varies from one runner to another, but why does it matter?
Well, as mentioned, your running cadence can have a big effect on your overall running form, and if your cadence isn't right, it could put you at risk of injury.
If you have a low running cadence, you're more likely to overstride, which is where your legs reach out in front of you and your heels come down to hit the floor in front of your hips. Your feet will hit the ground with more impact and be on the ground for longer. This can put extra stress on your joints and muscles, especially around your knees, hips and lower back, and lead to pain and even an injury.
A higher cadence means shorter, quicker strides, which will see your feet landing in a more controlled way beneath your hips and centre of gravity. It means your feet will spend less time on the ground, so smaller forces will be put through your body and you'll be at less risk of developing an injury. It's also a more efficient way of running, helping you preserve energy and feel more comfortable. Talking of injuries, if you feel like you've got one coming on or you're a bit worried about what to look out for, go check out our video where we go through all the injury warning signs you should look for.
So it makes sense that we should really be thinking about our running cadence and how to increase it. This is especially important if you're injury prone or you're a beginner runner who is literally getting into their stride.
So if we want to get a bit faster, working on our cadence can be a great place to start, but how do we go about improving it?
Research suggests that increasing your current cadence by about 5 to 10% is enough to reduce your overall risk of musculoskeletal stress, as you have less braking force when your feet hit the ground and a lower vertical oscillation. Vertical oscillation is basically how much you bounce up and down when you run. A lower vertical oscillation is seen as more economical because you waste less energy going up and down.
So one obvious but important thing to do to help try and increase your cadence is to take smaller, more frequent steps. Don't worry too much about the pace and speed as you start off, as it will start to feel easier as you get used to the higher turnover rate. You could also try doing this on a treadmill, as it's a more controlled environment.
Another thing you can do to add to your training is shorter, explosive efforts, so things like strides.
A couple of times a week at the end of a warm-up or just after an easy run, practice 100-meter strides with an exaggerated high cadence to focus your body and mind on doing more steps. For the strides, speed up until you're turning over your legs as fast as you can comfortably go, and in between each one, jog or walk until you feel recovered from the effort. You could also do strides down a slight incline to further force your muscles to work faster and adapt to a higher cadence.
Another tip to help you increase your cadence, why not try running to a beat? You could download a metronome app onto your phone or a similar feature onto your watch that you could have playing through your headphones to help your feet strike the ground at the right pace. Or you could simply listen to music with a fast, regular beat and run to that.
Next tip to increase your running cadence, improve your posture.
Do a full body check to make sure you're running nice and tall. Keep your hips up with a slight forward lean so your body weight is over your toes. Actively drive your arms as well to propel your legs forward. This all helps you to move more efficiently and increase your cadence in the process.
Using your arms is so key when you're trying to run faster. Make sure that you drive them backwards and keep your arms close to the side of your body. Once you get your arms moving fast, your legs and feet will follow suit too. Having a good running cadence can help you run more efficiently, quicker and injury-free. So don't forget to check your cadence.
And if you want to see us discover the secret to breathing properly while running, then make sure you check out this video right here.